Hello and welcome to this episode of Hospitality Talks, where I am joined by an old friend of Cam, Simon Stenning, who is the founder of Future Foodservice. Simon, do you just want to do a brief introduction about yourself and what Future Foodservice does?
Thanks, Katie. Great to be talking to you again. So, Future Foodservice forecast the future for the food service hospitality industry. Call it what you like. We provide data-driven forecasts, much like joining the dots, a little picture that paints tells a story about how things are evolving, and most importantly, why things are going to be different tomorrow than they are today.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Well, as we're all aware, it's all very well and good looking at the data and the insight that you've got, the things that have happened. But really, the million-dollar question, of course, is always what is going to happen. But I wanted to speak to you, first of all, about a LinkedIn post that you put about a less than satisfactory end to what otherwise seemed like a wonderful visit in hospitality. It got a lot of traction on LinkedIn, and then I did a Propel Friday opinion piece about it, and that got a lot of traction. So let's explore this. What happened?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So it's kind of starting at the very top end of what's going on in our industry.
Mhm.
A celebratory meal I'm not going to give the name of the place, of a top gastro pub stroke restaurant. There's more restaurant than gastro pub with rooms in a beautiful part of the world that charges a good amount of money for an overnight stay, dinner and breakfast and copious amounts of wine on top,
Uh-huh.
as you'd expect.
And you were there with Mrs. Stenning, I presume, or is that?
Absolutely. Yes, it was a birthday. Yes, so no expense spared,
Good,
obviously.
good.
And yeah, that could have been a delicate question
I
to
know, I
ask, Katie.
realized as I asked it. No.
So the meal was great.
Yeah.
A couple of minor points I could pick up on from a service perspective, tiny points. But I think when you're are used to eating in 2, 3 Michelin star places with in hotels with 4, 5 AA rosettes, then you have certain expectation standards, and you're happy just to pass on, not to criticize, but to pass on your thoughts in terms of how they may well be able to get better
Yeah.
without being arrogant, without
Yeah.
thinking we know it all, but just passing on experience from using them.
Mhm.
What was fascinating was that following the meal, the dinner, the overnight breakfast, we left, and there was nobody to say thank you. There was nobody to say goodbye. Most importantly, there was no follow-up whatsoever. No email through their automated systems with their reservations team that were in contact at the start to say, can we check everything? Do you need anything? And so on.
So it felt a
Nothing.
little bit like they kind of taken your money and gone, right, that's it. This is over now. We don't need to have any more contact.
Absolutely. And I describe this on my LinkedIn post as, is this the missing ingredient?
Right.
Because funny enough, having written that piece, I then went back to book again. And guess what?
Hmm.
Loads of availability. Now, I was only testing there. So, it's not as though they are chocker to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
hilt, can't take, don't need anymore. They've got loads of availability for rooms, for restaurants, apart from Saturday nights.
Yeah.
And I just think that if the industry gets to a point where it is that arrogant
Mhm.
that it doesn't say thank you, doesn't ask for feedback,
Yeah.
then it's in danger, because we as consumers are becoming much more discerning, much more
Mhm.
um, choosy as to where we spend our money.
And the bit that I think we always have to remember, and I said this in my opinion piece, is the customer journey does not stop when the customer leaves the venue, whether it's a pub, bar, restaurant, hotel, whatever it might be. Because if you want to create that brand loyalty, if you want to make sure that you dot the I's and cross the T's for any customer experience, then that check back afterwards is incredibly important. And customers like to leave feedback. And actually, we know from research that the higher end the venue is, the more customers want to leave feedback because they expect to be listened to if they
Yep.
spent that kind of money. So,
Yeah, exactly. And look, we all know the market is tough at the moment. Our forecasts for this year are for growth, but
okay.
hard fought for growth.
Yeah.
our forecasts for next year are lower in growth than they are this year.
Wow.
This continues. This does not,
Yeah.
this does not let up just because inflation has fallen and bank rates start falling and more money in consumers' hands. What we're seeing right now is real wages have overtaken inflation, so consumers have got more disposable income,
Mm.
but they're saving it.
Yeah.
And that carries on into next year with our forecasts. It's hard fought for. Last week at whenever it was at Casual Dining Show, I delivered a presentation where my message was casual dining is no longer casual because occasions are becoming that much more important as frequency decreases
Yeah.
and obviously as it becomes more expensive.
Yeah.
So I think it's so important to try and get that feedback, to try and
Yeah.
check, to learn.
Yeah.
Um,
I actually, I've spent most of the day today with the wonderful Jason Perfect, who absolutely is from Buckham and Liberation Group. We went around their sites in London, and one of the conversations that we were having with him was this, they're still seeing spend, they're still seeing good customer engagement, they're still seeing longer dwell times, etc., but less visits. And that's certainly what our research is telling us as well, is that if I used to go out twice a month, I'm now just going out the once, but I want that to be a really great occasion. It has to be memorable. I have to have great service, great food, great drinks. I'm expecting more as a customer because my money is not stretching as far. And
yeah,
it's very, our disposable income, we're having to fight for it. So the pubs, bars, restaurants, hotels, they also need to fight for it. And to not do that follow-up, just that final bit of the customer journey, just, I actually gave an example of a Thai restaurant in London Bridge that I went to, where afterwards I got a check back, which I'm sure everybody gets, but I really liked it because it was a direct link to a booking. So I didn't have to book through one of the aggregate sites, which of course is better for the restaurant as well. But also, the main point being is it wasn't from Hello App, it was from Rosie,
right,
blah, blah, blah. And it was genuinely written with my name on it
yeah,
and everything else. And I click on the link, and what did I do? I booked immediately for a
yeah.
lunch for the CAM exec team, actually, straight after getting
No,
that. So it matters.
and it works. So more recently, I decided to go to Jason Atherton's um, relaunched restaurant, Pollen Street Social, which he closed, famously
Yes,
announcing, and everyone thought that was the death of fine dining.
yes, that's right.
But he has reopened it as Mary's. It is more casual, but it's not. It's still fine eating.
Yes,
But you can go and sit at the bar and just get a burger.
yep,
So that shows a direction of travel for some of that premiumized dining, that
yep,
it can become simpler. Great meal in that really nice, simple, cooked over wood, great steak, some lovely starters, great wine, great service. And the day after, an email from Jason and his wife saying, "How was it? Tell us what you think." And
brilliant.
then the following day, an email saying, "If you come back, here's a discount. Here's a promotional offer, not a discount, but a promotional offer."
Yeah,
That's what you have to do
yeah,
to stick in the mind of punters
yeah.
and get that book, get that repeat business. I'm now
Especially if
talking
it's
about
fine
them.
dining, especially at that higher end, the expectation is higher and the delivery has to be
Yeah.
absolutely on point. It's always a joy to speak to you, and I'm pleased that we managed to end on a happy note of somewhere that really is doing that post-visit follow-up well.
No, no problem at all. Great to talk with you. And yes, the future for the industry is positive. It's just so hard to try and get it right and to work hard to get it right. But
Yeah, totally agree. Thank you so much for joining me, Simon.
no problem. Thank you.